Hi, this is Chris from Resolute Philanthropy, and I want to talk about what happens when we give ourselves permission to rethink a fundraising strategy that we used to really embrace. Here's what I'm talking about. When I started in fundraising, really how I started in fundraising was through employee giving. I was a volunteer on the St. Joseph Health System employee giving campaign. That's the first time I ever did any kind of serious fundraising, and obviously I fell in love and really liked it. And I did it professionally too. I was working at St. Joseph Hospital in the city of Orange, and I was the annual giving manager. And the huge part of my responsibility was employee giving. And there's really, something kind of exciting about, trying to find the one tiny break room that a handful of phlebotomists are meeting in at 3 in the morning on a Tuesday, so I can sit down with them and talk to them about employee giving and talk to them about the charitable arm of St. Joseph Hospital and all the work they were doing. It was a really challenging way of fundraising, and it was a great way to learn how to talk about impact, how to talk to donors, how to get donors to be excited about their giving, how to really get stewardship, my stewardship muscles in shape. It was a really great way to go. But lately, and rather lately, I've been rethinking how I think about employee giving. And I've talked to a couple different people about this and read a couple posts too. And I don't necessarily think it's the best way to go. I think, especially in smaller organizations, there's a real chance that we're pressuring employees to make donations because they know their boss is going to see if they have or haven't made a donation. I think there's even an argument to be made that if we're not really paying our nonprofit employees competitive salaries, then we're underpaying them and asking them to give. That's not a great look either. So the point of this message is not to dunk on employee giving. That's probably a whole nother conversation. But the point is, it's okay to rethink these things. It's okay to take something, even something that worked and something that meant something to me, and really rethink it. Now, I don't think I'd recommend employee giving as a strategy to a client because I think there's better and more direct ways that we can secure donations and work with our community to support the mission. But if I hadn't given myself permission to really rethink that, I'd probably still be singing the same song about employee giving as I had been since I started way back when. And I think this goes to show that fundraising isn't a fixed point in time. It changes as we learn more about how donors interact with and connect with organizations. It changes as more reports and more studies are done about donor behavior. It changes as societies changed and the environment in which we're raising funds change. So if you're locked in to a fundraising strategy and locked into an approach in how you reach donors or how you talk to donors or when or how you ask donors for money, if you're really locked in on these things, you may be doing yourself a real disservice because you may be pursuing a strategy that no longer really serves you in the way it maybe once did. And that's frankly what I love to do in my role at Resolute Philanthropy is to talk to nonprofits and help them take a really close look at the channels they've been pursuing fundraising for and to really ask the question, is this still serving our mission? Will this continue to serve our mission and our cause in the future? Note that that's a different question than does this work? Because a lot of things work, but they're not healthy or not good for us. We really need to take a deeper look and a more thoughtful look into how we fundraise. And again, that's what I do with nonprofits at Resolute Philanthropy. We take a really close look at your fundraising because we want it to be as good as it can possibly be. We want it to be something that your volunteers, your donors, and your staff are really energized about because it's not just about the fundraising, right? The fundraising is the tool that we use to expand the mission, to grow the mission, to connect more people with the mission. It's all about that mission, that cause, and how we're serving our community. So if you find yourself thinking about your fundraising and you feel stuck or you feel unsure, or maybe you said, we can't change this because whatever, that's your sign that you should call me. So give me a call, drop me a message. Let's talk about how we can do more for your mission and for the community you serve by taking a bold and brave look at your fundraising. All right, keep up the good work. We'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.